Hey everybody, thank you for watching the Unity for Julian Assange online vigil. I'm here with Cassandra Fairbanks. Cassandra, thanks for being here. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, and just give everybody a little background on who you are and how long you've been involved with the Unity for J.
So I've been doing most of the Unity for J streams. I think I've missed the last few because there was a lot of drama and people were really upset about my involvement. So I kind of backed off a little. But I've been supporting Julian Assange for a very long time now. I write for a right-wing website, and yeah, people are pretty upset about there being right-wing people involved, but they seem to forget that people like me and Jack are the one, Pasovic, one of the other people they're upset about, are the ones who live in DC and are partying with people who are in the White House every week. So I feel like there's a part for everybody, you know?
Well, that's the thing. The thing that I find so unique about these vigils is that it's good to see someone that's from the right that realizes this is a crime no matter what. Like, and the point I always make, I have zero faith in either party. So because Julian was started to be a political prisoner under Obama, and now he's one under Trump. So it shows you that the two parties don't care about violating, personal freedoms and human rights is to get the person that is disseminating information that shows how corrupt the system is. So how long, let me ask you this, how long have you been reading WikiLeaks? When did you first get turned on to them?
I mean, since Chelsea Manning's releases, I was immediately drawn to them. I used to be on the left back when I thought that there was a lot more anti-war people on the left. But yeah, I was a leftist. I was super into Chelsea Manning's leaks. I followed her trial very closely and have been hugely supportive of WikiLeaks ever since. I visited Julian in March, 3 days before he got isolated. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do you feel about where it's at right now with where Julian is, what is being done to him, and what do you think? What do you think the end game is here of the United States with Julian?
I mean, it's horrible. It's the end game is obviously to get him. He will never face a fair trial here. I mean, I think they want him behind bars for the rest of his life. And if they get their hands on him, that's exactly what's going to happen. So, yeah, I hope that we can prevent it. I think that the current president of Ecuador really wants more business deals with the United States, more investments, and they're gonna trade him if they have to.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I said in the last segment with Mark was Julian won't play ball, so they turn him into a political prisoner, but Ecuador, they offer them, big money and business, and that's what America does. America comes in and says, we'll help your business or whatever, and if not, well, gee, we would hate to see another coup happen and get you thrown out of office, because we've done that in countless countries. I mean, the Global Research Initiative released a statistic back in 2015, and they released the study again this past August, that since World War II, America has been responsible for killing 20 to 30 million people in 37 countries. And the majority of those countries, it was some CIA-backed coup where we got in there and got some democratic elected leader out. I mean, we've done it in Bolivia, the Congo, Chad. I mean, you name it, man. And so this is what is so disturbing, is just how the the American government is able to do whatever it
right.
You all right? Can you got it figured out?
Yeah, I was just trying to get my screen less bright, but it's in my camera. But yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sorry. I agree completely. Mm-hmm. Just trying to fix this because I feel like I was jacked up.
So what do you say since because I'm very left leaning and I talk to people on the left and some of them are like, well, Julian, he's charged of rape or whatever. What do you say since you're operating in many right-wing circles to people who think, who say, he's a criminal or whatever? What do you say to them?
Well, I point out the fact that we wouldn't have President Trump if it wasn't for him. And I mean, a lot of people on the left don't like to hear that. And I feel like Julian doesn't like when people say that, but it's true. And so people on the right should be supporting him. I don't think that we would have known any of the things about Hillary Clinton that really made this election and informed the voters. Mm-hmm. So I try and point that out often.
And if Julian were to somehow, or WikiLeaks were to somehow get conclusive, very damning information about Trump, how would you feel about it?
Good. I mean, I support WikiLeaks always. I have no problems with anything they release because everything they release is true. And if you can, things that can be destroyed by the truth should be. So if they got something that was just earth-shattering on Trump and it took them down, so be it.
That's good to hear, because I think the partisan or the tribalism or the my team is better than your team thing that I believe has been instituted over decades by design to keep us divided really gets in the way of truth, without a doubt. And people are unwilling to hear the truth about their person. I voted for this person, so I'm going to cut them a little more slack, when in fact, in my opinion, it should be the opposite. I voted for you. You said you were going to do these things. You're not, and now I'm finding out you're a criminal or you've done whatever. I should be more critical of the people that I voted for, because I entrusted them to do the things they said they were going to do, which is why I voted for them.
Right. And I spoke to Sarah Palin recently, and I mean, as I'm sure you know, Sarah Palin had her emails leaked by WikiLeaks during the McCain-Obama election. And she was like, I still support WikiLeaks. I was a stinker to them at the time, but her actual word. But she was like, but I understand why they did it. And I understand that it wasn't personal and they weren't trying to specifically hurt the Republicans. They were just making information free. And she has completely done a 180 on WikiLeaks. She's apologized for being mad at them when they leaked her emails. And I think that's really cool. And I think that a lot of people on the left who are really into like the whole WikiLeaks is horrible thing, they forget about that. Like Washington Post, the whole team of volunteers to go through Sarah Palin's emails. And there wasn't anything that interesting, obviously. And they didn't win anyway, but it's fascinating how different the response was when it was Sarah Palin versus Hillary Clinton, and how they've completely forgotten about it. They're like, oh, clearly he's just going after Democrats, but he did it to Sarah Palin not that long ago.
That's what is so preposterous to me, is that rhetoric of he's just, Julian had it out for the Clintons, and I'm like, no, Julian has it out for people that abuse power. And he has called out numerous Republicans and conservatives. And I mean, like anyone that abuses power, when information is leaked to him, he calls them out. I mean, I always say, go to WikiLeaks and look at all of the stuff they've called out, all of the people from either of the parties. What it shows to me is the reason why I'm an independent, which is absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, I'm
actually registered as WikiLeaks party. I as a Republican, even though I voted for Trump, because I don't know if I'll vote Republican again. It just completely depends on who the candidates are. I just registered WikiLeaks party. I was hoping they'd put it on my voter ID card, but instead they just put other party.
Right, you're just an other. You're one of those people that we want you to think, and that's the other thing that's part of the two-party system, is they want you to think that you're other, you're WikiLeaks, you're Green Party, you're Libertarian, you're too small and you don't have a voice. But, you know, what did we have? 50-some% voter turnout in the last presidential election? I mean, what did we get in the primaries? 20% if we're lucky? I mean, you're talking about at least half of the electorate is not voting. And many of them were locked out for one version or another, or they don't believe that the system works for them. They know I can vote for whomever, and they'll just lie. You know, Obama said he was going to hope and change, and he didn't. He helped create 5.2 million foreclosures. Trump said he was going to, you know, help workers, and he gives a $1.5 trillion tax cut to his rich buddies. Like, who? They're all. How can I trust anybody? I mean, 85% of the people that voted in the last presidential election for Trump or Hillary said they did it as the lesser of two evils. Like, that just shows you that the whole system is broken, and all Julian Assange has done, and people like Snowden, is showing you how broken it is. You know?
I agree. And I just spoke this morning on a panel, actually at Trump Hotel, but it was a women for Trump kind of panel, and my topic was foreign policy. And I was discussing, you know, being anti-intervention, anti-war, and how, you know, there's a lot that people have in common on the right and the left. Nobody actually wants war. Nobody wants more war except for the establishment in either party. And actually talk to people on either side. Most of the country agrees on this. And it's not really right versus left. It's establishment, people who are making money from the war machine versus people who aren't. And so, you know, you have politicians like Rand Paul and Tulsi Gabbard who are obviously on opposing sides. They're in different parties, but their foreign policy is pretty similar. And you're not going to find anything like that with most establishment politicians. But when you just talk to people, voters, I think a lot of people have more in common than they think. And the things that they care about are things that WikiLeaks has been tirelessly working to expose. I mean, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks have done more for the cause of freedom and understanding how our government works than any other publication ever in history. And I really think that supporting WikiLeaks and what it stands for is a really bipartisan or nonpartisan cause.
Yeah, bipartisan scares me.
I'm political.
Bipartisan, I know that as George Carlin says, then you know we're all getting fucked.
Right. I meant to say nonpartisan. Sorry.
But no, it shows you the problem of partisan politics is that we can't get to the place where most Americans, be they right, left, center, don't want war. Like, we can't even have that conversation. There's no party that represents us on a national level. There's no party that says we all don't want war. You know, and it's amazing to me too, because, you know, Trump ran on a very anti-interventionist platform. I always point out to people on the left, I go, look, he blew up the Republican Party. He blew it up. He went in there and ran on a populist, anti-interventionist message. I didn't like some of his anyone that's endorsed the KKK.
But that's why I like him, because that's the most important to me as a voter is foreign policy.
Right.
I don't particularly care that much about domestic issues, honestly. Like, I should care more, but I don't really. It's probably privilege or whatever, but it's just, I care more about what's happening in the rest of the world, what kind of damage we're doing, the death that we could be causing, the people that we love who are going and dying. You know, a really close high school friend of mine was killed in Afghanistan, which is part of why I was so enthralled with WikiLeaks when the stuff all came out. But yeah, I don't.
You know, to touch on that, I'm sorry about your friend for starters. And, you know, I've done 7 comedy tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kuwait. And I've talked to a lot of vets. I've met a lot of wounded vets in Iraq and Afghanistan, and here at the Naval Hospital in San Diego. And that's the thing that, you know, in addition, like the 26,171 bombs that Obama dropped in 2016 alone, then the 22 vets a day that commit suicide from PTSD related from combat stress from all these wars that benefit, you know, Halliburton and ExxonMobil and the defense industry. And it's like, to me, it's good. It's really good talking to you and hearing what you have to say, because it shows that we have more in common than we don't. And, you know, Trump ran on an anti-interventionist platform, and then he changed his mind in spring of 2017. So, oh, the chemical weapons video made me change my mind about Syria. And it's like,
I think he's still shown good restraint though with Syria. I have to, in popular opinion, but I have to give him a little bit of credit here, because he has Nikki Haley and all these hawks and neocons that are like wanting to they want to take out Assad real bad. And hasn't done that, and we're not at war with Russia. We're not. I realize it's not perfect, but I do think that the alternative, if Hillary Clinton had won, I think that we would already have wiped out Assad, and it would be a disaster over there.
Probably. I mean, because she's very skilled at getting people. I mean, again, smart people I like and respect that are left-leaning said, well, you saw those chemical weapons videos, we had to attack. And I said, what? They were alleged, there's no investigation. And I go, you ever notice how we don't see any footage from Yemen and did we see any footage from that bus that killed 44 kids in August that our American-made weapons did? No. And you just see Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton, they're all just sort of puppets of the military machine. And it's evidenced even more by when you have people like Chelsea Manning and Edward Snowden and Julian Assange come forward with stuff, they get attacked by whomever's in power.
Right.
I mean,
but people, the true cost of war. And I honestly believe that that's a big part of why the right went anti-intervention. I mean, there's a huge movement on the right for being against war. Like, Syria is huge topic of debate every time that it comes up, and people, you know, threaten to burn their MAGA hats and stuff. It, like, people get really serious about it, and I think that what Chelsea Manning released just impacted everyone and completely changed the way that people look at war, the way that they look at, you know, interventions, and I don't know. I think that if people realized how much both sides agree on this, we'd be able to get so much done.
But they don't want us to. That's by design. They do not want us agreeing. That's why do you think they're buffering the audio on this? I'm a big lefty, socialist, hippie, vegetarian. I do yoga. You write for a right-wing.
I'm vegetarian too.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to say that. You're supposed to only be on you're only supposed to check the boxes that they want you to check on your team. You're not supposed to be a right-wing vegetarian, right? That's what you're supposed to drive a truck and have a gun and a steak, and I'm here on my yoga mat meditating to my, you know, unicorn god or whatever. So that's what they want. And I'm so glad you bring that up, because I don't think people on the left realize that there's a lot of anti-interventionists on the right. I don't think people understand that, and that fact that many people voted for Trump because he said that. He was I mean, Tucker Carlson, who I don't agree with most of the time, he started calling out Trump, showing all of Trump's tweets saying, critical of Obama, why are we in Afghanistan? Why are we bombing Syria? That,
right.
You know, and that's the thing.
He's been great on Syria. Like, I don't agree with Tucker Carlson on everything, or anybody on everything, but he has been really good on Syria and on Yemen even. He's had a lot of really great segments that I'm like, I would have expected this from a left, from like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have never imagined somebody on the right saying the things that he does. It's just the times have changed so much, and we can all disagree and shout at each other about social issues and things like that until we're blue in the face. But when we do have things that we agree on, like WikiLeaks or foreign policy, then we should stand together for that moment. Like, because then we can actually make some change, and why not?
Well, they've done a good job of, sanitizing war for us. We don't see the footage. Like in the last segment we were talking about, and during Vietnam, everyone watched on the news every night and at the dinner table horrifying images of war. American GIs dying, Vietnamese civilians dying, kids dying, and everyone went, oh my God, this war is awful. What are we doing? They stopped that quick, man. And when the first Gulf War happened, we didn't see it. We haven't seen it out of Iraq or Afghanistan. It's like they have, and it's this thing over there. And if we fight them over there, then they won't attack us here. And it's like, no, that's your war for profit. You're creating more terrorists and creating more refugees. People don't want to leave their homes. And it's just like American, because that's the thing. Especially like, and I have talked to some fiscal conservatives who were like, yeah, we spent $5 trillion on a global war on terror. Shouldn't we have fixed it?
Yeah, I was discussing this at the panel today. Everybody was like, that's the thing. These people, yes, they don't want refugees, but they also understand that in order to not have refugees, we can't be blowing everybody up or providing the weapons for other people to blow them up. Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of rebellion against Saudi Arabia, for example. People on the right aren't a fan of Saudi Arabia at all.
That's the other thing too. Trump sold them $100 billion in weapons. Obama sold them $110 billion in weapons. What's the difference? And women just got allowed to drive. Wow. 2018.
Yeah, they're flogging bloggers and, free race.
Yeah, it's insane. My time is just about up here. But Cassandra, where can people find you on the internet and all that?
I'm at Cassandra Rules on Twitter. I write for Gateway Pundit, but I'm sure that lots of people on here are a little more left, so we may not be your cup of tea.
Well, thank you for being on the show, and it's also great for me to be on the show. Anybody watching, please go to grahamelwood.com. You can watch my show, The Political Vigilante. So if any of your viewers want to come watch a lefty be harshly critical of both parties, I'm your guy.
Well, it's been awesome chatting with you.
Yeah. So
and I highly recommend the show.
Right on. Cool. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you later.